Katanas. Their beauty is undeniable, but just how durable are they? Can they slice through steel like it's a goddamn anime, or are they gonna break under the pressure? Well, today, we're gonna find out. Today, we have a very special sword to test out. This is the Hanwei Bamboo Mat Katana. It's priced at around $1,000 and is highly rated among sword and trenchcoat enthusiasts alike. What makes this sword unique is it's made of a special high alloy steel created by Hanwei to make extremely durable blades with excellent edge retention. Today, we're gonna cut a bunch of different targets, all increasing in toughness from tatami mats to wood and even metal to see just how durable this blade really is. But first, let's take a closer look at this thing. The first thing I noticed about this sword was that the scabbard is just awful. I'm actually shocked at how bad this thing is. It is way too thick, causing a ton of blade rattle. This thing trembles harder than your heart does when Senpai notices you.
I'll kill you.
NANI?!
This thing also isn't fit properly to the blade collar, so it falls straight out. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. And don't even get me started on the Sageo. I've seen micro bikinis thicker than this.
No! God, please, no!
Also, check out this handle wrap job. It looks like someone was hitting the sake a little too hard when they wrapped this baby up. Now I know Paul Chen's not really known for having well-wrapped handles, but this is especially bad. Luckily, it's decently tight, and the rest of the Samigawa and all the other fittings are pretty high quality. Now, I want to make this clear. I'm a huge fan of Paul Chen swords. I've owned 9 of them throughout my life. I think they make some of the best reproduction swords on the market. That's why I was so confused when I saw the poor quality of the scabbard. That is, until I saw the blade. This differentially hardened blade has the sickest hamon I have ever seen. It's like wildfire. This thing looks like Guy Fieri's personal katana. It has a Niku style edge, which is shaped more like an axe and less like a razor, which adds plus 50 durability. But if this sword is $1,000, then why would the scabbard be so shitty? That is, unless the blade was so expensive to make, they had to cut corners elsewhere. That has to be it. Well, there's only one way to find out. I've been waiting a long time to get my hands on this sword. A lot of people say it's their favorite cutting sword. I can see why. It's got a really fat, hefty blade on it, and it has definitely one of the coolest hamons I've ever seen. It's a little heavy. I know a lot of you are like, oh, well, you should just work out more. And you know what? Maybe you're right, but it doesn't mean that it's not heavy. It's got a big, fat, chunky little handle. Normally I wouldn't like that very much, but I don't know, it feels good. Feels good. So today we're gonna chop a bunch of different targets. We got some regular single roll tatami mats, and then we're gonna move on up to tatami mats with a 1-inch doweling through the middle as a core, and then we're gonna see if this thing can cut through metal. So I got some aluminum and steel sheeting. So I'm gonna chop through those babies. See how the sword does. Whew. So it cuts really nicely. The blade is pretty hefty and the lack of bohea contributes to that, but I will say I do miss having a bohea or a blood groove in the sword, because when you cut with a sword with a bohea, you hear that whistle.
Nice.
Which is A, very satisfying, and B, kind of lets you know even before you hit the target that it's a good cut. So this cuts really easily through a single mat tatami, but we already knew that. So let's move on to some harder targets. This is a 1-inch wooden doweling inside a single mat of tatami. So this is gonna be a lot harder than the last target. The wood doweling in the middle kind of represents bone. So this is a very accurate representation of cutting off someone's arm or leg, depending on how thin your legs are. All right, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was. I barely felt the difference between that and a single mat. Okay, felt it there. Oof. So that was a bad cut. That's what you call a bad cut right there. Right there, my edge alignment was kind of off. And as you saw, it just kind of flew straight off the target. But you know what? This blade still is as sharp as when I first started. It's really retaining that edge really nicely. Damn it. Cut like halfway through it. All right, so now I got this big boy. Whew. This is 2 full rolls around a wood doweling. That's a thick boy right there. Whoo, boy. I don't know, I've never cut through a target this thick before. Oh. Almost. Damn. Oh, it's just too thick. So this was a thick boy. I had some trouble making it all the way through the target. It seems like once I chop through the doweling itself, my strike loses a lot of power. I really need to work my follow through, but it seems like I can't make it through that last inch. I just need to practice some more. But the sword is definitely capable of chopping through this, no problem. I had a couple bad cuts in there, and even then, the blade is still straight, no issues, still razor sharp. I really like the sword though. The saya might suck balls, but the blade is really, really nice, and it feels very sturdy. This is a beast of a sword. Like, I feel like when I cut with this blade that I could just cut all day with this thing and it wouldn't dull, it wouldn't break or bend, which is a really cool feeling to have. I bought this specifically as my main tatami cutter, and as far as the blade goes, I'm really happy with it. So this high alloy steel is no joke. So I have some aluminum sheeting and I have some steel sheeting. So I'm gonna see how this sword does cutting through metal. Okay, I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before. I really hope I don't fuck my sword up. May the powers of Guru Ganesh protect my blade. That was easy. No damage to the edge. The edge is perfectly intact. There's a little scuff on the blade. That's where it cut through. So the edge is fine. After all the cutting, I'm noticing some dings right here. So that's most likely from me cutting into the doweling and my edge and alignment not being perfect. Okay, so this was aluminum. It's clearly way too easy to cut through. So we're gonna step it up a notch. So I have this 28 gauge galvanized steel sheeting. This is pretty tough stuff. Don't do this at home, ever, under any circumstance. I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie. Really don't wanna mess my sword up. This sheet, I'd say it's about twice, if not 3 times as thick as that aluminum sheeting, and it's definitely way stronger. All the anime I've watched growing up has prepared me for this moment.
this!
Huh. It basically cut through it. Definitely damaged the blade. It would have made it straight through the target if this was a little bit better constructed, the stand, and it held it in place, but it kind of crumpled under the pressure. It had no problem cutting through the metal. It's not really the problem. The problem is the damage that it did to the edge. I got some significant edge rolling here and some scraping into the blade. The blade itself is still extremely sharp. So what did we learn? We learned that this sword is super badass and looks really awesome and cuts through tatami really well. It is called the Bamboo Mat Katana. It's not called the Steel Sheet Katana. It is such a beautiful sword. It is kind of a shame that I damaged it. So even though the saya is terrible, I would say the blade is definitely worth it. It holds its edge really nicely. So it turns out this katana can cut pretty much anything I throw at it. I'm pretty confident that it could cut much thicker steel, but for now I'm gonna stick to tatami because it hurts my soul too much to damage this beautiful blade. So while the scabbard of the bamboo mat is incredibly bad, the blade really impressed me. It's a beast of a cutter and it really holds its edge. Also, just look at that blade. That homon is so sick. Have you ever seen a katana that looks like that? So overall, I'm gonna give the Bamboo Mat Katana 3 anime gasps out of 5. It loses a full 1.5 points for how terrible the scabbard is, and it loses another ½ point for the sloppy handle wrapping. But overall, I'm a big fan of the sword, so much so that I'm gonna show you how to fix a shitty scabbard as a quick little bonus. First, we gotta fix that blade rattle. So we're gonna take some cotton balls, stretch them out, and line the edge of the inside of the scabbard with it, using the blade to work them into place. Then you just want to use the blade and kind of work it in and out of the scabbard to form the cotton balls into place. So now the sword fits really nice and snug in the scabbard. And then also no blade rattle. It should take no more than a single cotton ball to do this properly. You don't want to overdo it because if you do, you're not going to be able to fit your sword back in your scabbard. Next, we got to replace this shitty sageo and replace it with this nice, high quality silk sageo from Japan. Oh yeah, much better. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Hanwei Bamboo Mat Katana, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.